Hello, and welcome back to the next episode of the Ginger Joe Racing Show, brought to you in association with betting.co.uk. So, you're probably wondering why I'm hosting. Ginger's on part-time this week. We just thought we'd let him on just for the value, and of course, our regular wingman, Jamie Wren, the voice of Ireland, and our two special guests, two absolute fantastic guests, Mr. Jack Burkett, known as Racing Interest on Twitter. How you doing, Jack?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me, lads. I'm looking forward to the weekend. Plenty of good racing. It's one of the best weekends I enjoy for racing. So I'm looking forward to it again. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to tonight.
Good stuff, good stuff. Of course, we were on your spaces last night, so if you haven't checked that out yet, make sure you're on Twitter, follow Racing Interest. And our next special guest, a man after my own heart, fellow Sky Blue, Coventry City legend, known as Spectre Racing, Mr. Paul Beck himself. Paul, thanks for joining us. How you doing, buddy?
Absolute pleasure. Only here because you promised me we could talk about the next COD manager for the first half an hour of the show.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, I think the less said about that. We've had a bit of too much the last 2 weeks, but
Just pressing leave on the right hand side.
But what we're going to do tonight, today we're going to just chat through the weekend racing coming up. We've got some fantastic racing at Haydock featuring the Betfair Chase, the Grade 1 big event here in the UK. We're going to talk about Ascot. They've got a couple of nice Grade 2s on the card. We've got the Coral Hurdle and the 1965 Chase. And then we'll pop over and talk about the big races in Ireland this weekend, the Morgiana. And of course, we've got the Cradock's Town and the John Durkan, which could feature the likes of Galopin Des Champs and Fast or Slow. But we're going to start on Haydock. We're going to crack on. And the first race we're going to preview is the 150, which is over the extended 2.5 miles. It's the Graduation Chase. A race won last year by Grey Dawning, who we're going to see later on in the card on Saturday. The favourite at the moment is Iroko, best price 5-4. I can see in the village at the moment. You've got the likes of Trelawn at 11-4. You've got Tamuras at 3-1, and Hillcrest, who we haven't seen since he was pulled up in the 2022 Albert Bartlett. Going to go straight to Joe. Joe, what do you fancy in the race, the 150, the Graduation Chase?
Yeah, I mean it's a good one, Scotty. Obviously, it's nice to see Aroko returning to the racetrack. I'm hoping that we'll see a little bit of rain regarding his chances. Probably not necessarily a betting prospect for me in that sense, but I'm interested in seeing how a few of these run. Trelawn's obviously interesting, but he's going to be desperate for some soft ground this weekend. He's not one that necessarily acts too well on a faster surface. In fact, I don't even think he'll run if it's a faster surface, but. And like you said, Hillcrest would be great to see him back, but I think as well we'll only see him if there's a little bit of cut in the ground. I can't imagine Connections are going to want to risk him on anything faster than good to soft anyway with the injuries he's had. But look, it's not really a betting prospect for me, this opening race. But I do think Tom Morris is going to strip quite fit first time out. He's the only one that may tempt me in at the prices of around 7-2. But again, as a racing fan, I'd like to see a Rocco come out and start his season well and get off to a good start. But from a betting perspective, nothing of interest at the moment from me.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Joe. I think they've got eyes on the national this year with Iroko, haven't they? So, Jamie, what do you think, buddy?
I'd echo everything what Joe says, really, there, not being boring or anything like that. I think Oroch will win. Look at the way he won first time out. I know it was soft ground, first time out last year as a novice in Warwick, but they all need soft ground, really, don't they, Scotty?
Hmm.
Trelawn, Timoris, Hillcrest, all of them. I'm just going on that he was very good first time out last year, and I think he'll just win. And you might see him trot around in a few races and onto the Grand National for all of them, really, to be honest with you. But 5-4, it's up to you want to take it. He might drift on the day. You never know, but he's my idea to win it, yeah.
Yep, fair enough, Jamie. Mr. Beck, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same place. On paper, Oroka wins this, doesn't he? The only doubt in my mind is, I think you've already mentioned it, that they've stated the aim is the Grand National this year. They're not really going to want to go up £5 or £6 winning something like this, I don't think. For a 20 grand race. There is time to get his mark back down, as Jamie says, but back down to where it's a JP horse. The handicap is probably not going to move them too quickly. Um, then you start to look at Trelawn, ground issues. For what it's worth, looking at the weather forecast, by the time this race happens, there's a fair chance this is going to be soft ground. So that will suit Trelawn. I think there's still plenty in Trelawn's mark. He's just a talented idiot, really. He's just an absolute nutter. Hillcrest, you mentioned, again, on soft ground, 9-year-old coming back after a couple of years out, you can't think they're going to have anything other than him fit. He just has to be fit, doesn't he? But got to be some doubts about his jumping because there were before his injury. Definitely in Science, I think, will end up being a really, really good horse, actually, but I think he's probably more likely to go for the limited novice handicap at Utah on Sunday. Because why wouldn't you? Why blow his mark in a race like this? The only reason you'd run is if three of them didn't run. The interesting thing with all five of them, though, is none of them had a run this season. Whereas you've got horses further down. If the rain doesn't come, lots of Boom Born will be hard fit. If we still get good ground, you can see him winning a race like this against horses that perhaps need it. I tried to convince myself that Chasing Fire was an alternative as a fit horse in the race, but I just couldn't. So full circle, I won't have a bet in the race. I don't think, but the most likely winner has to be Aroko.
Yeah. I had a look at Boom Born myself, and I was just trying to work out how many runs he's had, but I think he's already had 5 runs over fences, so whether they're just trying to shave off a couple of pounds from that Rising Stars win, we'll soon see. But Jack, are you an Aroko fan for the race?
Not really, Scotty. No, well, especially at the price, he's definitely the eye catcher of the field. He's probably the one with most of the potential. Trelawn, he's one of my best bets at Cheltenham for the Ultimate. I really fancied him. Obviously, he come down at the second fence, like Spectre just said there. He's an absolute lunatic, but he's a talented lunatic, and I really do think he's talented. What Paul said there about the Grand National marks, I completely agree with him. He's spoke exactly what I was going to say with Aroko. I thought 152. Sorry, lads, I've got a cough, so ignore me if I'm coughing away. But at 152, are they going to want to risk the win? And they'll probably go 158, 159, depends how he wins. Trelawn is all. I heard Kim Bailey say the Grand National could also be a target for him, and he's only off 144. I think Galia de la Tour in the Grand National last year ran off bottom weight, and she was 146. So I think a win here for Trelawn wouldn't affect them too much. I think they'd get that handicap mark, that mark, and work off that whether they come down or up and be prime for the Grand National. Whether he goes that route or not, I think it more likely depends on what Chianti Classico does, if he turns into a Gold Cup horse or not. But as a betting proposition, I'd probably have a little go with Trelawn. I think 4-1's a bit overpriced. I agree with Joe. Tamuras would be ready to go for this race. I would not be surprised if he wins. But Aroko, the talented, doesn't the race, but 5-4 is too short for me, lads. I can't be touching anybody over 5-4, especially when there's too many question marks over what's going on in the future with the Grand National, etc. So, yeah, I'd have a small bet on Trelawn, a 4-1, but not a majorly.
Yeah, fair enough. I think the jury's pretty out then for the first race at Haydock. Small vote there for Trelawn from Jack, but I think we're all in agreement. It's a pretty trappy race. But we're going to move on to the 230, which is the Betfair Stairs Handicap Hurdle. It's a premier handicap, a race that traditionally throws up some pretty decent horses. One of my old favourites, Grand Cru, won this way back, I think 2011 he won the race. And I'm going to have a quick look at the market here because we've got Doyen Quest, who was very impressive at Cheltenham last weekend. He's a 7-2 favourite for the Skeltons. You've got the likes of Montmoral, who's a Potemps winner in his own right. He's 25s. But the market's the front of the market. You've got the likes of Shoot First for Charles Burns. You've got Catch 'em Derry, Cam Cenas, and my fancy in a race, Kerry Hill for Ruth Jefferson. We're going to start with you this time, Jack. Have you had a little look at the race? Is there anything that stands out?
Yeah. Well, I'm still in quest whether he comes or not. I'm not sure. I know Harry Skelton's jocked up. He might go for the quick turnaround. Shoot First as well. Again, was off the track for quite a while, over a year and a half, nearly 2 years. He ran at Galway a few weeks back. I know Emmett entered back me or sack me. Is that the name? I get it wrong every time I say it. But he obviously won it last year with Slate Lane. I think if you see a bit of money for him, you know what's going on there. He's not jocked up just yet, but he's been handicapped out the board for a race like this. Kerry Hill, the Riverdon winner for Ruth Jefferson. I know plenty who like him this season. He's only been beat once, and that was by Shanna Bob and Destroy the Evidence at Cheltenham. I think it was the December meeting, maybe in November. I'm pretty sure it's the December meeting. Yeah, that's no form to be ashamed of. Getting beat by those two horses, they come out and frank the form, clearly Destroy the Evidence. winning already this season. But I've landed on Catch Him Derry. I threw a tweet out about 3-4 weeks ago as an anti-bow selection for him at around 11-2. He has drifted, of course, because Durkan Quest is now being put on, but the skeletons are flying. We were talking just before we went on air about the skeletons. They've been absolutely flying. 8-1 for me, lads. I think it's too big. He was favoured for the race, obviously, I've just said, but he's drifted, and I think 8-1 is far too big. I think Durkan Quest got to give him £9 with Tristan Durrell's claim. He won readily last time out. I think 8-1 is far too big for him. Yeah, obviously Durkan Quest come out and absolutely bolted up last week. Whether he comes or not, he'd be a danger, especially with Harry now jumping on him. And Tristan Durrell's now on Catch Him Derry, but I think Catch Him Derry's got a really good chance here. I think he's going to be improving. He could probably improve and maybe go to Ascot after Christmas. But I really fancy his chances here. Of course, it's never easy to understand why Harry jumped on Durkan Quest. Maybe that is the main hope, but I wouldn't overthink it too much. I think Tristan Durrell and Catch Him Derry here, 8-1. I really do think he'll go closer. 8-1's an each way price, so yeah. Catch Him Derry for me, and obviously a small mention for Kerry Hill. I think 11-1's slightly over big for him. He won the River Don very nicely, didn't he? So yeah, just those two, but my main selections: Catch Him Derry.
Yeah, so Catch Him Derry for Jack, and a shout for the long walk hurdle potentially at Ascot later before Christmas, later in the year. Ginger Joe, is there anything again here that takes your fancy, mate?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously your eyes are going to be drawn to Durkan Quest. He's obviously race fit, and it's probably a race that tactically suits him quite nicely as well. But I mean, look, I really fancy Camsinas here, but looking at the market, he's got from 10s out to 14-1. So I'm assuming he's going to go for the earlier race a little bit earlier on at 1:15, which, okay, I see the angle, but everything seems like like everything's ticking the boxes in my eyes for Camsinas here. He's going to love the ground, whether it's good or good to soft. He's 1-for-1 around Cheltenham. I was just hoping that this was going to be a little bit of redemption for the Fergal O'Brien team after obviously having Dysart beat at the weekend just gone. But the horse that finished second to Dysart Enos was Be Aware as well. Camsinas actually beat him, giving weight away. So I'd really like them to take their chance in here. I understand why they'd go for the earlier race, but if Camsinas turns up here, I'll have a decent punt, but the market is sort of saying otherwise at the moment. So I'll probably wait until a little bit closer to the time now.
Yeah, like you say, he's got an entry earlier on the card over the shorter distance, 2 mile free. He's got winning form on this card, of course. Last year he won over 2 miles last year. He's got winning form over 2.5, but that's a decent shot for Camsinas. Paul, what do you think?
Yeah, look, I love these handicaps. I mean, this is a tough one to try and unravel, to be fair. You know, there's a lot of unexposed horses, and it's always won by that type, isn't it? So, just looking at Dan's horses first, Durkan Quest is obviously £5 winning after winning at Cheltenham. He may run, but if the ground's on the soft side, I don't think I'd be interested. I think he's a talented horse, but I think he wants good soft. Or better ground. Gwenny Mayboy might turn up there, up £11 from Aintree. That's a lot to contend with. You wouldn't think it's going to be unexposed anymore. There's going to be better handicapped horses in the race. Punter to the left will probably go the same way as Cominsus. So I don't see him running here. I do like Catch Him Derry. I think he is in that pot of unexposed types. He's the type that can win this or at least place. You've got One Big Ban. James Owens had him from Porto, and he's just improved. I suspect he's still not finished improving. Looking at the most recent races, and again, if it's soft, he'll love the ground. But I've got it between a couple. Emmett's is in my tracker. I've been waiting for him. That is a real proper plot. One soft ground, mind heavy. If it's not soft, he won't run. I shouldn't think. He'll save him for another day. He's been running around, in the summer on ground he wouldn't want. He's made sure he's got the right handicap mark here by running at Sutherland, Worcester. 125's a couple of pounds lower than Slate Lane was last year, and I suspect he's a better horse than Slate Lane. If it's soft or worse, he'd be my selection. But I'm going to shout out for Evan Williams' horse, Patriotic. I think he's just the right type for this. He was fifth in the Silver Trophy. It didn't look fit. I was there that day. In fact, Trevor William running that race, I actually saw Patriotic in the paddock. Thought he still had plenty to work on. Finishing fifth in the competitive handicap hurdle, was running at a furious pace that probably wouldn't have suited him. I thought was an outstanding effort. 3 miles, he's going to improve. Loves soft ground. I don't think he's anywhere near his ceiling. Big price. He was 25 yesterday. I think there's been some money from today. I like him quite a lot, I have to say. I just think there's some doubt about Bat Me or Sat Me turning up. If he does, I'd Dutch them both, to be honest. But because I like them both. But Patriotic's probably the selection.
Do you reckon that's why he's such a big price now, Paul, with Bat Me or Sat Me?
Well, there has been some money.
Has there?
So I think he's 11s now. He was 18s on entries, 14s yesterday. I think he's 11s now. So there's been a bit of chipping away going on. It's not big enough to think it's Paul Burns' money, to be fair. But, because all of a sudden the price will collapse if Paul Burns got his money down. And they'll be hanging on for the ground. I suspect that he will get an entry on Thursday because most of the rains come in on Friday night, Saturday morning and during the day on Saturday. So by the time this race is running at 2:30, once the rain gets in at Haydock, it goes soft fairly quickly. So I suspect they'll have the entry and withdraw them if they need to.
Yeah, I think you can still get just a touch of 14s on Patriotic. And back me, sack me, I say Emmett Mullins is the modern day Charles Burns. I think anything he enters, I think the bookies get kind of frightened of him and they don't want to take too many chances. But it's interesting to hear what Mr. Wren has to say. I know he's got one of his favourite all-time trainers in here with Shoot First. Jamie, are you going to be back in Shoot First?
Oh God, no! You couldn't like him, Scotty, the way he came back from injury in Galway. But as you say, you took the words out of my mouth. By the way, Emmett Mullins will never be Charles Burns. We'll make that a fact now. All right, he'll never be. Or a Tony Martin. Come on. Dan Skelton's trying to be Tony Martin, Charles Burns. You can't go as good as him.
Scotland's better than them. Scotland's better.
Yeah. But
He just does it more regularly.
I got about Skelton. I think it's seen all of the three of them. It's seen all any of the Skelton horses that turn up, to be honest with you, Scotty. If it's good, you're dying quest with the £5 penalty will win. If the rain gets into the ground, catch me, Derry. Was I suppose improving all the time. Really, won a nothing race really, Newton Abbott, but they're taking Tristan Durlier the £3 off. It was beaten by Gwenny My Boy at Bangor, receiving £9. Now it receives over Stone and 2 from Gwenny My Boy, but it's had a run where Gwenny My Boy hasn't had a run. Obviously, Gwenny Boy went on to win the big 3-miler handicap at the entry, and West Balboa was beaten 8 lengths that day. So I have it, if it gets into the ground, not massively confident, but if it's good ground, Diane Quest would win. Each way from Eden, Ketchum, Derry, and Gwenny My Boy. Yeah.
Just a quick note, Scott.
I'd probably just worry about Diane Quest backing up. What was a fairly tough race over 3 miles last week.
Yeah.
Yarp. Why have they got a 40-minute gap between this race? It doesn't seem to make sense.
So the Skeletons can get more money on, honestly.
But it doesn't seem to.
I don't know. Yeah, looks that's very strange. Actually, I never realised that.
Doesn't conflict with any other of the big races. It doesn't.
I'm sure he'll clash with another race.
I've just had a look. It doesn't seem to. That's the thing that doesn't make sense. Like they've got the 2:10, then they got the 2:30 and 2:45. It's just a long wait, isn't it, for people that are at the course there?
Yeah, you've got a 1:35. No, wait there.
Isn't it something to do with there's 2 Premier Race days plus the big race at Punchestown?
Yeah.
Yeah, but even then you've got the 2:10, then the 2:30, which is 20 minutes, and then the 2:45. It just seemed like a long time. Even 2:25 would have done, wouldn't it? I don't know. I'm just picking at straws there, really. But
I will throw in a quick one. The turnaround with Diane Quest. Jamie just mentioned it might be a bit of a concern. I remember David Pipe's horse, Main Fact, a good few years ago. I think he had a big string of ones coming into this race, and he had a quick turnaround, and he went and won this race. So maybe the layoff kind of factor isn't as big now. Quick turnarounds may not be a negative, but we shall see. We're going to move on though. We're going to go on to the main race of the weekend in the UK. It is the Grade 1 Betfair Chase at 3:05 at Haydock, and the market leader is Grey Dawning at 7-4, who won the Turners Novices Chase at the Cheltenham Festival last year, beating Ginny's Destiny and Jello. You've got other horses in here who are pretty proven at Grade 1 level. Royal Pagaille, who won the race last year at 3-1, and of course everyone's favourite Lunatic, a Hoisinor at 9-2, and then it's pretty much any price you want. Hewick at sevens. Capodanno's been supplemented. If you don't mind, I'm going to quickly say what I think on the race first. So, for me, I think Grey Dawning is a very suspect stayer. He's not proven over the trip, and I think to get the kind of trip here at Haydock, you've got to be an out-and-out stayer. I think Bristol Demai was kind of like the horse. This was his kind of Gold Cup, so to speak. Royal Pagaille's in the same kind of bracket. Going to Grey Dawning, I don't think he's a Gold Cup horse. I think they're going to kind of bite the bullet, and I think he gets beat in this race, and they might look at going back to the Ryanair. I think it's kind of one chance saloon for Grey Dawning, and I'd be taking him on in the race. I've heard today there's Limerick Lace has been backed again. She's into 10-1, and I think she opened up 25s. And I think her trainer Gavin Cromwell actually said if there is a bit of rain, they will definitely run, but they're still keen on running regardless. I'd give her a shout of outrunning her odds, but for me, I think the real whacker at 16-1 is a cracking each way price. If you're taking free places now, which you still can before 10 o'clock tomorrow morning when final declarations are out, I think he was written off last season. I mean, from the Paddy Power Gold Cup, he was very disappointing, and he bounced back this year already, winning the Charlie Hall. I was impressed with that, but beating Brave Man's Game, everybody knows Brave Man's Game's probably regressed. I don't think he's the same horse he was when he won the King George, albeit I think it was a weak King George that year. I think if he gets into a good jumping rhythm, I think he's massively overpriced at 16s. And you have to be one of those galloping kind of horses at Haydock, Aintree, Newbury, those big, long kind of left-handed running tracks. So I think it will suit him down to the ground. And if he was jumping two out, anything a length up from the likes of Grey Dawning, I'd be all over him. I'd be backing him and running. So I thought he was interesting, but I'm going to go straight to Jamie this time. Jamie, are you going to be playing or laying or backing something else ahead of Grey Dawning at 7-4?
It all depends, Scotty. Like you said there, I would be all over the wheel whacker here on good ground each way. I can't see him out of the first three. I think he'll go like he did in Charlie Hall, jump him into the ground and see if you can catch me if you can. The soft ground now, if it does come, I will be all over Grey Dawning, and I think he'll stay. I'd have his mustard first. I know it's a different trip, 2.5 miles on the same car with the graduation chase, but if he wants to be a Gold Cup horse, he's going to have to win this. Didn't my old favourite Protectorate win this first time out, didn't he, once upon a time? So I'll give you the early anti-post tip, right? Because Grey Dawning won't win the Gold Cup. For 2026, when he comes back for the Ryanair, Grey Dawning will win the 2026 Ryanair. Another skeleton plot job. But anyway, no, all jokes aside, I will be with Grey Dawning if it's soft ground because I think he's the most potential in the race. And if you want to make a Gold Cup horse, you should be winning this. And you should be beating these old stagers if not being smart. But if it stays good, it would put anyone off the real whacker after he's running the Charlie Hall, and especially with the trainer comment. Didn't have his ground all last year. Pretty good ground, and he's a different horse. And I think he's a cracking bit each way. And if it's soft, I'll be all over Grey Dawning it.
A strong case for Grey Dawning, Jamie. I've got this feeling, Paul, you're going to throw up something here for us at a price.
Well, look, I don't disagree with Hewick and the real whacker on better ground. I just think it's highly unlikely we're going to get better ground, if I'm honest. Will Shark actually travel Hewick over with that weather forecast? I suspect he probably won't, although Shark's known to enjoy a night out, so maybe he will. I was with the owners actually of the real whacker at Cheltenham on Sunday, so as long as the ground's right for him, he definitely runs. But obviously the ground goes, he won't. I thought it was interesting that Capodanno got supplemented yesterday. But the truth is, he's just a mid to high 150s horse, isn't he? He might have a rating in the low 160s, but it's not a winning rating for me. He shouldn't be good enough, but actually I'm not sure this is a particularly good race. So you couldn't discount him, but there's been a big drift on him. So don't really know what's fit to make of that. It could be that they're trying to get his mark down for a national or something like that. It's just another race to put him around the back. Raw Pagaille, obviously, he's Bristol Demai Mark II, isn't he? Really, you know, the mud's flying around Haydock, then he's his absolute best. But he's only had 5 runs in 2.5 years. You know, they obviously struggled to keep him fit. So you'd think that Venetia's going to have him hard fit ready for this because, you know, it's his cup final, isn't it? It's early in the season, but it's his cup final. So she's going to be desperate for the rain to come. And if it does come, you can't discount him because he's probably going to be hard fit when the others are 90% kind of thing. I was looking at a Hoist Senior. Wanted to try and convince myself that he had a shout here, but he's only actually won 1 race in 14 open chases. He's actually a serial loser. You know, he either hits the fence and comes down or finishes second or third to anything. So, you know, was he 4-1 or something maybe? You know, you can't touch him. And the reality is, I think Grey Dawn is just the best horse in the race. You know, no rabbits out of hats here. I think he's the best horse in the race. I think he is a Grade 1 horse. I think he will stay. I would worry if it was heavy ground. You know, he will act in soft ground, no bother at all. In fact, that would probably suit him better than good ground. I think he's a seriously smart horse. I don't disagree that he's probably not the Gold Cup winner, but I think the Gold Cup contender. He's got to go and prove it on Saturday. You know, this is a dress rehearsal, really. I do know Dan has him fit. You know, he's not taking any chances. He doesn't want to walk away from Haydock thinking, well, if he was fitter, what would have happened? So he's fit enough to do himself justice. And I think he's just the best horse in the race. So I'm surprised at actually the price he is. I think he should be close to evens, and he's close to 2-1. So I actually think he's a bet.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones. I think if he'd won a race over 3 mile, 3 mile one, I think he would be an even money 11 to 10 shot. Perhaps it's just the kind of lossy mouth effect of last year, where she was kind of a backable price, just on the doubt that she stayed the extra trip. Similar opinion for me with Grey Dawning, but I'm kind of in agreement with you on that as well, Paul. Jack.
I'm in agreement with Jamie and Paul. Scotty, I think Grey Dawn takes all the beating here. I always get this with the Betfair chase. I always try and find the winner early on in the summer, and I sort of chip away at the price, whether it be £6, £20, £2. Just chip away at a horse that I really fancy for the race. Grey Dawn's being the horse this year. Don't get me wrong, I didn't think this many would turn up. They still might not turn up, but I think if Dan wants him to be a Gold Cup horse, which I don't think he'll be good enough to win a Gold Cup, he's got to be winning this field here. Don't get me wrong, it's a competitive field, but I just think a Grey Dawn is going to take a lot of beating here. I think he'll stay. He blew me away last year in the graduation chase, the way he won him. I know he won Guy Adam and Neil. He was there for a Grand National mark. I know he ends up injured in the end, but the way he won round Haydock, Harry Skelton had the race won. three fences out. He was 10 lengths behind him, and although you do need to stay to win the Betfair chase, you also need a quick horse, a horse that's switched on from around that bend. Because if you are slow around that bend, the horses can get away from you, and you cannot catch them. And I think Grey Dawn, he's a quick horse. I think he'll stay. I think he'll just about stay. But I think he's tailor-made for this race, Scotty. I really do. I think, don't get me wrong, 15 to 8, maybe a bit short on the short side with the field after turning up. He was 5 to 2 3 months ago when I was backing him, but I thought he'd go off close to odds on. I didn't think this many horses would turn up. But yes, Scotty, one of my best fancies of the week, Grey Dawn, and I will just say I don't think we're going to get good ground. I think it will be soft, but if we do get good ground, I think Gavin Sheehan's back on. I think he's around 14 to 1. I wouldn't put anyone off an each way bet, but it'd be very much ground dependent. But one of my biggest fancies of the weekend is Grey Dawn.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point you made as well there, Jack, when you say you need to be kind of a speedy horse still to kind of win this race. I think Protectorat, obviously winning a Ryanair, he's got some proven form over the shorter distances, as did Aplutard when he won the novices handicap over the extended 2.5 back at the festival. He went off favourite for a Ryanair. I doubted he'd be a thorough stayer, and he proved me wrong there. So probably more feathers in the cap of Grey Dawn.
I will just say that quick, sorry, Scotty, to put your proof of the real wacky. He's another one. if you let him get too far in front, he will steal the race from you 2 out, and he won't be for catching. You do need it, especially around Haydock. You need a quick horse, a horse that's switched on, not a horse that's going to be sat back and then a stay all day, because he can get away from you.
Yeah, I think how many times have we seen horses come to the final two fences in this race and they've just absolutely emptied? I think jumping is the key at Haydock, some of the toughest fences in the country. Ginger Joe.
Yeah, I've been going around in circles in this one a little bit, Scotty, because of the ground situation. I'm sort of coming to terms now. It's going to be at least good to soft ground, in places. I think Grey Dawning's a good horse, and I'd probably be against the fellas in the sense I would give him another chance after today. He is a novice stepping into sort of wide open graded company for the first time. So even if he did get beat this weekend, I'd still give him one more chance to prove that he stays the trip. Because even though, like Paul said, Scout said he's had him nice, fit, and ready. Sometimes horses just need the run anyway, just to remind themselves what their job is. I'm not interested in Royal Pagaille. Hoisting yours too risky. Capodanno, I'm with Paul. I don't think he's necessarily good enough, really. I am interested in Hewitt because I actually think he's going to come over just on the basis that Shark isn't going to be around too much longer. I think he's going to be primed for this day, and he's got race fitness on his side. But I'd be inclined probably at the prices to take a chance on the real whacker. He is only an 8-year-old. It feels like he's sort of a 9, 10-year-old, but he could be coming into his prime now. I could see him just the usual tactics, bowling along in front, doing his thing, strutting his stuff, good jumping as well, which is obviously needed when you're a front runner. I'd say that he's going to be quite hard to catch here. But I think he'll be closed down by Hewitt, and I think he'll be closed down by Grey Dawning as well. So I'd take a chance, probably each way at a real whacker at 16-1, based on the prices. But again, no real strong shout in that sense. I wish I was like Jack, though. I wish I had chipped away at Grey Dawning for a while now. This was obviously going to be his target, and you're only getting 15-8 to find out if he can step out of novice company to win this. But if I was Jack and chipping away, I'd be counting some money here at the same time,
Okay, wicked. So we got 2 votes for Grey Dawning at 7-4 and 3 each way scumbag bets on the real whacker at 16s. So we're going to move over to Ascot, and hopefully this race won't take too long. It's the 1965 Chase Grade 2, the Phenom at Ascot, Pick Dory, one of my favourite horses in training. Absolutely love him. Perennial winner at Ascot. He's a 4 to 5 chance generally. And then you've got Jello, who we last saw in the Haldon Gold Cup, finishing second to another one of my favourites, JPR1. He's 6 to 4 in Dashel Drasher, winner of the Ascot Chase Grade 1 a few seasons ago. And it's pretty much any price the rest. Going to start with you this time, Paul. Do you fancy Pick Dory, or will you be backing Jello or something else in the race?
Yeah, look, I think it's hard to look past Pick Dory. You can look past his price. I think he's short 4 to 5 now. He was odds against earlier in the week, and I took it then. I wouldn't necessarily be taking 4 to 5 now. He's one for multiples at the weekend rather than as a single bet. But you look at his seasonal debuts, last couple of seasonal debuts, 158, 163. All his RPRs, his last 3 runs at Ascot have all been RPRs in the 160s. Ground's not going to be an issue, whatever. He's pretty versatile with regards to the ground. And that's just too much for Jello to make up, isn't it? I can't see how he makes that kind of ground up, albeit, he's relatively unexposed. It's just too much. Second season, Charlie Deutsch is going to be up at Haydock, isn't he? So his regular rider's not even going to be on him. He's going to be on Royal Pagaille. I think it's just too much for Jello, to be honest. I don't see Dashel Drasher really doing anything. They abandoned chasing a couple of years ago. And he's been, running around with the same 150s hurdlers for God knows how long. He's not a 160 plus horse, in his best discipline. So I can't see him really troubling these, and there's nothing else in the race. So Pick Dory is just an easy pick.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, like you said there, I think Jello's got £12 basically to find them Pick Dory. He's getting £3 in a race, so it's effectively still £9 behind him. I was going to say as well, Charlie Deutsch, in my opinion, is the best rider over fences at Ascot I've seen in recent times. He's fantastic when he wings these Venetia horses. So I think, again, it's a big negative. So that's a great point you made there, Paul.
I presume Shane Quinlan will ride. I'm guessing it's Shane Quinlan, but don't know for sure. But that's a big loss for him. He's the kind of horse that takes him circle at his fences as well.
Yeah, I kind of know Venetia quite not well personally, but I know I used to go to the yard quite a lot when Richards, my friend, had Heliopsis and Miracle Cure, and she's quite a fan. To be fair to her, she chucks in some very good apprentices to ride horses, so we'll have to keep an eye on the jockey booking. Jamie, What do you reckon?
Oh, sorry. I thought we were on to the next race because I thought it would be quick. I no, Pictorial just win. I think the rest are good enough. Scotty, this like just a quick thing with him. He'll win this, and he'll probably won't be fancied, and probably won't have a chance in the race to the Silviaco Conti in Kempton in February. So 4 to 5, would I back him? I agree with Paul. I suppose it'll be a horse for everybody's multiples on Saturday. Move on.
Yeah, like you say, I think John Bon and Pictoria, the two horses, you could have right on the postcard their routes. It's always going to be the same thing. The Ascots, the Kempton races for Pictoria, and the Merlin Chase. That'll be his long-term plan at Aintree. Jack, are you a Pictory fan in here as well?
Yeah, that's the same as the lads. No real nothing to say about this race really. Scotty picked or he's more likely winner. I think Paul was a bit harsh on Jello. I wouldn't give up on him. I don't think I think he's a bit too harsh onto his man there. But I wouldn't give up on Jello. Although I don't think he'd win. I don't think he's certainly going to improve this season for coming into open company. It wasn't a terrible run behind JPR1. I think he'll come on for that. Whether he'll be picked or I don't think so. But yeah, it's not unreally. I'd probably, if I had to have a bet, I'd probably have to stay forecast, to be honest, picked or Twin Jello, because everything behind it. Dazzle Drasser's 11, and the rest of the load of crap, really, aren't they? So it'd be the top two for me. I'd probably have a straight forecast, if anything, but not a betting perspective for me, lads.
Yeah, fair. Full house Ginge for Pictory?
Yeah, pretty much, Scotty. Good jumper. Loves the track. He's going to be hard to beat, isn't he? I tried to make a case for Dash or Drasher. He's sort of, I think he's £6 below him and getting £8, one or the two. But again, he's probably going to chuck in a wobbler. Pictory, great jumper. Loves the track. Sort of hard to see past that, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just confused as to why Dashel Drasher's not going to Newbury for his long distance hurdle. He normally starts there, so maybe they've given him another chance, thinking this could be an easier prize money for them. But we won't waste too much more time. We're going to move on to the next race, the 245, which is the Grade 2. It's the Ascot Hurdle, one of my favourite races of the whole season. I absolutely love this race. We've got the Mares novice winner from Cheltenham, Golden Ace, who's a 9-4 favourite as I'm looking here. You've got a Django Bay, who won the big race up at Aintree last season. You've got the likes of Salva at 6-1. And last year's winner, Blue King Daru. And I think the biggest Blue King Daru fan is sitting, as I'm looking over there, Jungle Boogie, Jamie Wren. Does he win again?
Yeah, I think he does, Scotty. Yeah, I really fancy him. My slight negative that he hasn't had a run. Last year he won the Masters and Holding, came on then to beat strong leader here, finished fifth in the Grade 1 behind Crambo at Ascot in the long walk, and then he went to the Bet 365 Select Hurdle in Sandown and was fourth, not beating 9 lengths behind Imperial Pass and Langer Dan and Sir Garrett by far. That's the best form of the race. Now that was his 4-year-old season into 5. Now he's 5 into 6. Surely he's strengthened up. Paul Nichols thinks he's a long-term stairs hurdle horse. I wouldn't get too carried away with that yet, but he's rated 150 for a reason. I think he's just better than these, and I think he'll win. And 7-2, I'll have a bit of that, and I think he's one of my naps of the weekend. Yeah, Blue King Daru for me.
Yeah, I backed him for the long walk hurdle, I think, at Ascot after he won that last year. I don't think he quite stayed 3 miles, but yeah, I respect Blue King Daru. I'm going to mention as my selection in the race would be Salva. I think the Triumph Hurdle form, he's third behind the likes of Cargies and Madgebury, is pretty strong. And Gary Moore's come out this week and he's actually said he's an intended runner as long as if the ground isn't too firm. He's obviously better. All the Gary Moore horses seem to prefer the softer to heavy ground for some reason over hurdles. I don't know why. But I think he's definitely got a chance if he runs. Thunder Rock's in there at 5-1. I don't think he's ran a hurdle race for about 2.5 years. So I watched him last year a couple of times, Thunder Rock, and I just thought he was just scared of his fences. So this is probably a bit of an afterthought. I definitely respect Golden Ace. Brilliant winner of the Mares Novice. She's got obviously the form ahead, her brighter days ahead, who we're maybe going to see in the Morgiana, or maybe she'll come back in Newcastle. But yeah, Salva would be a tentative each way selection at 13-2. Ginge, have you got anything in here you fancy?
Yeah, this is one of my bets of the weekend here, actually. I'd be well against Salvador myself, Scotty. I don't like a juvenile stepping into this sort of company straight from that Triumph. I know he finished third behind Big Madge and Cargazy, but you know, someone had to finish third. I don't necessarily think that's a way to mark him up. I don't like Golden Ace stepping out of Mares Novice company into this sort of grade as well. It's a completely different ball game. Not a fan of James Blue King Daru. I think he's going to need further. I know we got beat over 3 miles, but I think this season he's going to be a horse that will excel when he goes out and trip. Thunder Rock, I think, is actually quite well in here if he's back on his game. But for me, Django Bay is a really, really good bet here. He's got some really solid form last year. He's going to love conditions, and he's managed to post a really big speed figure on good ground and good to soft that they sort of match the same. I think it's a really versatile horse that we're going to see a really big performance from. I'd be quite sweet on Django Bay at around 6-1 at the moment.
Yeah, I think Django Bay is a very interesting horse. I don't know really what his long-term plan would be this season. I don't think he's a champion hurdle horse. I think maybe the Aintree hurdle, he's got to step up a lot from that, but can see the angle there, Ginge. Jack, what about you?
Listen, Golden Age could come here and absolutely blow these away. She carries the best form, doesn't she? Obviously, being brighter days ahead in the Mayor's Novice. Thought the step up and tip for the last time out in Cheltenham April meeting wouldn't suit her, but she relished it, didn't she? She beat Nottingham that day, but she's done it nicely enough. But would it such a first time out at Open Company, 9-4? No, not for me. Salve's another one. The rain's supposed to come Friday and Saturday at Ascot. It'll benefit him even more. He's a horse who's very ground dependent. He was entered at Aintree and Cheltenham the other week, and he was pulled up twice because of the good grounds. He's going to get soft at least on Saturday. He was third in the Triumph, obviously, behind Margery and Cargeezy. I can see him shortening with when it gets close to the day and the rain is coming down. I think if you were to back him now 7-1, I'll be backing him now, because if he is entered, if he is entered and does go, he will shorten with the rain. But it's no. I'm going to be honest with you, Scotty. It's not really any betting proposition. I'll probably have a little try on Salve, just because I think if there's anyone to improve staying over hurdles, it's Salve. And I think 4-year-old, he's going to improve. I like Joe's shout with Django Bay. I was there that day when he won at Aintree on Boxing Day, and he won Favour and Fortune. He done it nicely enough, but he didn't really. I just question his form after that. I think he's got his like sort of level, and if he's at that level and Salve and Golden Ace aren't at that level, he will win. But I'm just going to take a chance on Salve and hoping that he'll be better. He'll be better than these, but. Like I say, born as it is, it's not a proper betting proposition. But if you put me for a bet, I'll probably have a little each way in Salve. That being it, if he does turn up, but I think he will.
Yeah. A couple of votes for Salve each way. I was going to say, the Django Bay form, is it really that strong? I know Farron Glory, who fell, was probably going to hack up in the, I think, the Tolworth that was run at Aintree. And would Farron Glory have taken high rank in a Supreme or a Gallagher's last year? Probably not. But again, it's just all about improvement. These young horses, Nicky Henderson can get one right, as we know. So, Paul?
Yeah, I'll start with Salve, actually. I don't agree with Joe. Blue King Daru was out of his juvenile season when he won this last year.
I didn't want to be harsh and say it, but I thought exactly what you just said. So
I think it depends on the horse, really, doesn't it? And you know, you've got to respect the chance of Salve. You look at that Triumph that he's running. He's finished third to Magsborough, who's rated 150s, 151, I think now. Nürburgring was behind him, who's now rated 150. You know, where he sits is hard to know. You know, whether he needs the first run is also hard to know. And I think that there might be a bit of an angle with that specifically with this race. I do like Blue King Daru. And for anybody that follows my stuff, I've actually put him up for the stayers. I think he is a proper stayers horse. That race at Ascot, that long walk hurdle, I would say is probably the worst ride that Harry Cobden gave to Eddie Horse last year. Had him out wide, had him out of position, made mistakes, never had a chance in that race.
He was about 4 wide, wasn't he? I remember.
Yeah, it was such a weird ride. And I can have Blue King Daru getting beat on Saturday and still be a stayers hurdle horse. I think he's going to start needing further. You know, I think the signs were there last season. This might actually end up this time around being a bit trappy for him. And he's not had the run beforehand this time either. So I think he's probably a bit more vulnerable than he was last year. I still do like him, don't get me wrong, but he's not actually my selection, despite him being my stayers hurdle selection. I do like the Django by angle. Lucky Place ran against Golden Ace as a novice, and obviously gave her £7. over two over. I think it was over 2 miles. Must have been over 2 miles. I need to double check my facts. We can't remember, it was still 2.5. But anyway, either way, she beat him 3/4 of a length. I'd say Django By is some way better than Lucky Place, some considerable way. I'd have him at least a stone better horse than Lucky Place. So I'd say Henderson knows exactly where he is with Golden Ace. I actually think with what's happened with Constitution Hill this week and maybe not being ready for the fighting fifth, or at least not, if he goes, not being particularly sharp, fit, or hard fit, I reckon Golden Ace might actually go to the fighting fifth. I'm led to believe that Brighter Day is probably going to stay in Ireland and run this weekend rather than go to the fighting fifth. There's probably going to be one or two others turn up there now because of what happened during the week as well. But I suspect they may not run Golden Ace this weekend now. If I was them, I'd be going to the fighting fifth. Let me put it that way, because I think this is actually weirdly harder to win. Colonel Mustard probably going to go to the fighting fifth as well, I would think. Take no chances of go for the listed mares race at Warwick on Monday. Pembroke's not good enough. Thunder Rock, I think he's just ended up in no man's land really as a chaser. Like you say, he's lost his courage, appears to be. He's probably capable of being a mid-150s or 150 type hurdler. But I'm not sure that is actually going to be good enough here. But the angle I've got on the race is there's only one actually run this season, and that's Botox Hut. One round here plenty of times. His winning, he always does. His winning always comes in grade twos. He's 20-1. And I think he's just a ridiculously good price. Some of these are going to be vulnerable on Saturday at much shorter prices, where he second time up is going to be ready. And actually, if you look at the ratings, he's bested on the ratings as well. He's 20-1. Nobody's even thought about it. I actually think he's a really good bet. I'll back him each way. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's the only bet that I want. The others are hard to sort through. Blue King Drew, Django By, Salveron. I'd actually struggle to make a decision, if I'm really honest. But I think it's an easy decision to back him Botox High each way.
I think it's a great shout, Paul. I looked at Botox Hash last night, actually, and a lot of his form does come before Christmas, before the New Year as well. He's just one of those horses where I've got a chalkboard of about 5 or 6 horses, and I think one of them, I've got so many. Every time I back them, they never win, and every time I leave them, they go and hack up. But Marie's Rock was the one I was thinking.
Leave it.
So I'll just leave
Get
it.
rid of the chalkboard, so bad.
So yeah, Mary's Rock's in that bracket of Botox Husk. But yeah, I can see that, Paul. I think that's a cracking shout. So pretty split across the board. A couple of votes for Salver each way. Golden Ace, no love at all. But I'm with you, Paul. I think Newcastle, the ground up there is normally pretty ropey. I think it would suit her down to the ground, and I think she could be a fascinating runner wherever she goes. We're going to quickly move on to Punchestown on Saturday. We won't hopefully spend too much time talking about the 210, the grade 1 Morgiana hurdle, which should be a grade 3 because of what's going to turn up to play against State Man. But Ballyburn and Lottie Mouth are still in the betting. They're probably not going to turn up. You've got the likes of Daddy Longlegs, who was rumoured to be put away until the spring. He's in the betting at 10-1. Brighter Days Ahead at 10s. And you've got Winter Fog, Sir Gerhard, any price, the rest. I'm just going to say State Man's going to win. And I think Willie has just kind of entered Ballyburn for a laugh. He knows he's going to probably go for his beginner's chase over 2 Mile 2 the same day, which Impere Pass has got an entry in. I just think he just mops up the prize money with Daddy Longlegs and Sir Gerhard. That'd be my 1, 2, 3. I'm going to ask you, Paul, quickly. What do you reckon? State Man, easy job?
Yeah, State Man wins. You can see the angle for Elliot running Brighter Days Ahead. The right time to run her is against State Man when he's not had his seasonal debut. She has,
yeah.
And he wants to find out whether she's a champion hurdler. He said it after Down Raw, didn't he? I think she could be a nobody believes him, by the way, but he believes himself. So he's got his chance to go and prove us wrong and himself right. So she's 10-1. She's an easy each way bet if you want an angle into the race this early. The other thought I had was that Mullins might run 2 or 3, just again on seasonal debuts, I suppose. Sir Gerhard, Daddy Longlegs, I'm just not convinced about him and that racing at all, if I'm honest. If the rain comes, it won't run anyway. Feast Dudery, actually, if you wanted another each way into the race, well, 3 places and lots of entries before there's only 4 turn up. He'll turn up and finish second or third to whatever's there. So I think Elliot will run him. But, reality is probably the simplest thing to do is just watch.
Yeah, I think 33 to 1 Phil's do there is. I believe he's going to run, so you're probably getting just under 13 to 2 for a place if he hits the first 3. Jack, what do you reckon?
Yeah, nothing to add here, Scotty. Like Paul just said then, I'll probably have a bet on Brighter Days Ahead. If I was to have a bet on, I'd advise people to take it now, because when Lossiemouth and Ballyburn do get kicked out, she will be half the price. Daddy Longlegs are only danger for a place. Brighter Days Ahead beaten by 9 lengths. I think that'll be double the amount of lengths, if not further, this time around. The only advice I give anyone is if you back Brighter Days Ahead, back and now, because when the field cuts apart, you'll probably be about a 6 to 1, 5 to 1 shot, maybe a tiny bit shorter. And don't listen, crazier things have happened. State might not be up, might not be up for it, and she might just nick a win. I can't see it happening, but crazier things have happened. But yeah, not much to add, Scotty.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, Faheen got beaten in this race a few years ago when Nichols Canyon done him, and everybody thought that was a certainty. I think Nichols Canyon was about an 8 to 1 shot, so you never know. Joe?
Yeah, look, Stateman just wins this, doesn't he? I think I've been told he's got a little bit of condition on him, a bit more than usual, but he should be taking this no problem. He's the deserved champion hurdle. He's proper campaigned. I want to see him go and do the same sort of campaign this season. Takes all the beating, yeah.
Ren?
Oh, same as, yeah. He's just a better jumper than Brighter Days Ahead, to be honest with you, Scotty. I think she'd be found out in the jumping department when the nitty-gritty comes there to the second last and the last of punches down. Like, look at it downright, she'd plough through him. She needs further. She's no way a champion hurler or something what he's talking about there, to be honest with you. So, Stateman just wins, yeah.
I actually think she's better going left as well, Brighter Days Ahead. I've not been convinced of her
Totally
jumping
agree
with
with
the
you.
likes of Down Royal.
Totally agree with you.
So, anyway, we won't waste any more time on Saturday. Just a quick one. Has anyone else got anything they fancy on Saturday before we quickly go to Sunday? Anybody?
I do, yeah. I quick one there in the Florida Pearl novice chase or 3 miles. I think Search for Glory runs here, and if it runs, it'll win. And I'll leave it at that.
I know you're quite keen on him. All those Gigginstown horses. I'm a
now, look quickly.
fan.
Sam Majest is declared for the last race at Tipperary in the 3 miler. Just gauging on that because it absolutely hammered Sam Majestic Galway that day.
Yeah, that's Friday. Is that
Friday at Tipperary? It's actually not a bad
I don't know if
card,
Dancing City and High Class Hero were declared. I didn't see if they were.
I don't think any of them were declared. I might be wrong. I don't think they were. Sam Majest and Bill or Ricky Dickey or something were in that, I think.
Well, they won't be winning with Sam Majest.
We won't find out till tomorrow anyway, will we? The decks.
No, that's Friday.
No, Friday. They're true, yeah. 48 hours.
Sorry, I was thinking that.
Sam Majest is another complete plot show. Paul, yeah. For something else.
Yeah, just not sure he's winning on Friday. He's capable of winning on Friday.
He's capable of winning on Friday, but I like to see him in the Ultima. Yeah.
There you go, Jamie talking about the Ultima. We know the Naive gamble's normally on that race, so we'll keep that for later in the season.
Scott, dead quick. I messaged Joe earlier about Steel Alley. TV there that he's running in the 3rd race at Haydock. It's a wide open field. Beat the Bath favourite. He's been off since he got beat by Dysart Diamond. I think Steel Alley takes all the beating at Haydock. It's probably my strongest fancy of the day at Haydock. He's around 9 to 1. Sam Thomas said he'll go to soft ground. I think he'll get soft ground. I think that's one of my strongest bets by Grey Dawn on the Haydock card. And I'm not going to take any applaudance to this because Jamie did mention him yesterday, but Search for Glory in the novice chase on the Saturday. He mentioned it on my space yesterday, and I went and had a look, and I think he'll wipe the floor with that field. Don't know a price yet, but I'll be in complete agreement with Jamie with
Jeez, he's like Ian Rainer now, state of my horses.
Celtic Dino on Friday for the trick.
Celtic Dino, yeah. Joe, you're mad for Celtic Dino.
Yeah, I hadn't even looked at the race yet, but when you mentioned it last night, I went and had a look at it. Then I looked again this morning, and he shouldn't be getting beat there.
Got to rein it in, Jack. A napster at the end of the show, and you have 2 big fancies at Haydock. So we'll have a quick look at Sunday. We'll quickly look at the Grade 2 Craddockstown. run over just over 2 miles. We've got the likes of Farron Glory, who won last time out at Nace, finishing second run before to the impressive In the Pocket. Firefox is another interesting entry, brilliant at Down Royal. Nürburgring's entered here, finishing third last weekend behind Down Memory Lane and King of Kingsfield. For me, I think it's all about Firefox. He's probably going to run here, but there's also a rumor he might go to the Drinmore at Fairy House in a few weeks' time. So, Jamie, have you had a look at the race, the Craddockstown?
I have, yeah. I think it'll be a poor field, Scotty, with all the entries that most of them are run last weekend. I thought about Firefox to me. I think he was mustard. They put him over the longer trip to see if he could jump. He was pestered for lead by a horse that I think will win a nice race and a handicap towards the end of the year. Punchestown or Ferry. It was a Mossy Fen Par for Henry de Burma.
Yeah,
He's
I'm
definitely
with
a
you on
horse.
Monty Fern Park. I like
Yeah, he's
him.
definitely a horse to follow. Let him run around in the beginner's chase and have a plot around get beaten at a big handicap, and then he's for the spring festivals for definitely the way he pestered Firefox for the lead of Downright. Then he went away. Oh, I think Firefox is definitely a dark horse for an Arkle. I was very impressed with him at Downright. I think he thought about him. It'll be a poor field, and he'll just win.
Yeah. Have you had a look at the Craddockstown, Paul? Anything that's taken your eye?
Yeah, I did. Nothing really to add. And actually, just the same thought with that down. Well, actually, slightly different thought that down roll run. I thought Mossy Fen Park looked a bit of a pony. Actually, I don't think he was very big. That was, not that it's particularly relevant to this race. Firefox, if he runs, he wins. And, it looks as though it might end up being a solid enough race as well. So, you'd like to think that maybe 4 or 5 of these will turn up, that Facile Mode. I would imagine that Elliott will run one more. Maybe Farron Glory ran a couple of weeks ago, so probably more likely Rainbow Trail. Jordan's don't know what to make of that thing. Came from France. It's difficult to get any kind of handle on the form. It's improved from France, definitely. But where it's at, I don't know. Sport in the Park probably not good enough. Nürburgring, I doubt, but it runs that run last week, didn't it? So,
yeah.
Firefox. Then the rest 3 or 4 in a heat, really.
Yeah, I think Gordon Elliott actually said he wanted to try and stick Firefox to 2 miles kind of early on in the season, leading up to the Arkle. I think he mentioned Farron Glory was more his Drinmore horse. But Jack, have you had a look at the Craddockstown as well?
Yeah, briefly. It's all about Firefox. Saves the lads. I think if he comes, he'll win. It's a poor field, but yeah, Firefox. I think he takes all the beating if he turns up.
Yeah, Firefox again. Ginger Joe.
Yeah, look, he's a very straightforward horse, jumps well. I see, bar a mistake, he takes all the beating here. He's not my idea of the Arkle winner at the moment, but he's going to be finishing in the frame there again, and he should take a lot of stop in here, to be honest with you, yeah.
Yeah. Firefox across the board in the Craddockstown. So again, we're moving on to another Grade 1. It's the 225 on Sunday, the John Durkan. I love this race. So I think it's an absolutely fantastic race. It's almost like a little mini Gold Cup with the entries at the moment. We've got Factor File, who's potentially going to make his seasonal reappearance here. He's 6-4 at the moment on Betfair. I think you can still get a bit of 2-1 out in the village. Fast or Slow, last year's winner, 9-4. Galloping Day Champs, I probably don't think he'll run. He's in there at 3-1. And you've got the likes of Spillane's Tower, who won the Grade 1 at Punchestown at the festival. Grange Clare West, I know the way you're thinking, and anything for the rest, the likes of Journey with Me, Manila Kakuna. Limerick Lace is probably going to go to Haydock. I'm just going to say I think Fast or Slow wins. I think he's the best horse at Punchestown, the best jumper of a fence in Ireland, in my opinion, even better than Galloping Des Champs in the jumping ability. And I'm just praying that they press the button and pay the money and get him in the King George. Just supplement him for the King George. He will take all the beating in that race, especially now Ile Francais is not probably going to run. Not going to go on too much about Fast or Slow because I have back Factor File for the Gold Cup. But Jamie, I know you love Fast or Slow. Surely you're going to be backing him for this. Surely.
All over him with everything I have, Scotty. I think that
Good
this will
man,
win.
Jamie. Come on.
Now, the only thing is, I was talking to a fella myself and Joe met on Friday, who was on the last show, and I was talking to him. We were arguing for ages about the Gold Cup. But you got to look back the way Factor File could keep up over 2.5 miles of a Gaelic Warrior, because Gaelic Warrior went hell for leather at the DRF. But I'm going to have a look at if I might have egg on my face here. Factor File has never won right-handed. So even in these 7 races, he's always been kept to left-hand tracks. Being a bit harsh, being a bit harsh. Bell Harbour, that he's point to point, is a stiff left-handed track over in County Clare. So, is there a reason for that? I don't know, but I'm being picky. But I think he's mustered around Punchestown. He's going to be ready, and it's fast or slow to win again. 5-2, yeah, that'll do me.
GSI. Someone famously once said GSI. Ginger Joe, another G, my favourite G.
Yeah, look, I'm all over fast or slow, same as Jamie. I think this is your Gold Cup winner and waiting as well this coming season. He's only continued to improve. Me and Jamie have been on him non-stop for a long time now. I don't think he's going to come over for the King George. I mean, I've been in contact with Martin. Obviously, got a stable tour booked in the next coming weeks, and he's not convinced that he's going to be bringing him over at this stage. So, but look, for me, I don't see how fast or factor file beats fast or slow in these conditions at this track. I think he's a good thing this weekend. I think he's a good thing going forward. I think this is the one that's going to take Galopan's crown.
Ooh, okay. Paul?
Look, I don't think Fast and Slow is a Gold Cup winner. I'm really honest. I think flat 3 miles is as far as he wants to go. I think when it starts to become a test, horses improve past him. This 2.5 miles or a flat 3 miles is spot on for him. I think you're right. I think, as he has been the last couple of years, he's been ready for this race, to be ready for it this time. And that probably is what beats Factor File. Factor File, I think, is probably fundamentally a better horse. What I can't get out of my head, though, is just the way Factor File put Gallic Warrior away last year. If that Factor File comes to this race, I don't care whether it's up and down hills, left, right-handed, on round Monaco, it doesn't matter. He'd absolutely stuff Fast or Slow because he's just a fundamentally better horse. But we know Willie won't have him anywhere near 100% on Sunday. So, I can't sit here and be bullish about him turning Fast or Slow over. I think it's just an intriguing race to watch. I don't think it's not a race that I feel the need to have a bet in. I think there is a bit of value further down with Grace Clare West. Having had that time off, I think that is one that Willie will have close to being fit. And I think he will be the one that will try and put it up to with Fast and Slow. And actually, when you go back and look at the balance of his form, look at his form now retrospectively, it's really good.
Sorry, no, Paul, to cut across to you, lads. I'm going to have to leave you go. Thanks for coming on, and we'll talk to you another day, all right?
Enjoy work, James.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Paul.
Jamie.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Jack.
Jamie.
All right, lads. We'll speak to you soon, okay?
I'll give you a text later, mate.
Ladies and
Bye.
His form with Corbett's Cross, Flooring Porter, beating them pretty easily in retrospect looks really good, doesn't it? And I think he's a big price at 12-1. And you'd think with that entry, was got him ready. He's definitely going to throw more than one dart at the race. I'm actually inclined to back him each way because I think he will probably have him half fit to take on Fast and Slow. In terms of his overall balance of form, he's another one. In fact, he has been to Punchestown because he won his bumper at Punchestown, didn't he? I was just about to say he hasn't been to Punchestown. I just remembered he actually ran at Punchestown in his bumper, beating Salvador Ziggy, I think, comfortably. So, in fact, he's been there over hurdles as well.
Yeah, he beat the Capo Glory there.
That's it. He beat the Capo Glory as well. So we know he acts around there. Again, we know he acts at 2.5 miles. So I think he's actually a reasonable shout at 12-1. He's not. I wouldn't be putting him as a win bet, but certainly he's an each way bet.
I'm actually so happy you said that, Paul, because I was being very quiet. A lot of people probably don't know, but I put Grange Clare West up at 25 sort of right now. I backed him. He's one of the very few anti-post bets I've had, and I just thought the Cheverley Park link to the race is so standoutly obvious with Applutard, Allaho. I think he's serious horse, Grange Clare West. The only thing that puts me off is I keep saying it. I don't like backing horses who have had setbacks or even a minor injury. It just puts me off. But if he comes into this race on his A game, he could win. He could win well. So yeah, I'm really happy you said that, Paul, and that's a great shout, mate. Jack, I don't really know why you're going to go with this. Are you a Galopin des Champs fan? I think he's probably going to Leopardstown at Christmas, but on the race on Sunday, who do you fancy?
Well, I'm going to back you up with Grange Clare West, Scotty. I was just about to say before Paul mentioned it. I think everyone seems to be forgetting. I know he got him. I don't know if he got himself injured or something went on and he ends up missing the rest of the season. But let's not forget what he done to Corbett's Cross. He absolutely wiped the floor with him, made it easy work with him at Leopardstown. Coming into this company, maybe come too soon. He may not win, but he'll definitely be there. I think come the end of the season, you'll definitely want to be inside him. He'll win a few grade ones for sure. But to answer your question, Scotty, galloping the Shumps, I don't think he will come. I'm all over fast or slow here. I mean, if you follow me on Twitter, you know how much I love this horse. I'm near enough begging Matt and Brazel to send him to the King George. Honestly, he's a God-given certainty if he goes that King George. I like Spectre's points with Factor File, but at 2-1, he's got to go out and prove it. I'm happy to be wrong there and be proven wrong at 2-1. If he goes and wins at 2-1 and I'm wrong, I'm happily not happy with that. I'm happy to be proven wrong. I'm not going to back him at 2-1.
Again, what Paul said, going back to horses, it's like horses for courses. I think Fast or Slow is he's like Bristol Demite Haydock when he's at Punchestown. He's very difficult to beat. And Galloping Des Champs, he's proven it at Leopardstown more than once, where he beats Fast or Slow and he can't get near him. If he can't get near him at Leopardstown, he ain't going to beat him at Cheltenham. That's just my opinion. Wicked. So we've covered all of the weekend racing. I'm going to ask everyone for their best bets quickly in a second, and then we'll have a quick question about one topic that I want to quickly cover, and then we'll do some quick anti-post selections. So, best bet for the weekend, Paul?
The Pic Dory Blue King Daru, I think, as a double.
So the Pic Dory and the Blue King Daru. Johnny Delahaye fan, hello.
I also like an each-way Trixie with Grange Clare West, Vertex Haas and Patriot.
So yeah, you're getting 14s, 20s, and 12s. That's a fantastic Trixie each way that. Jack, I think you know what your best bets are, Jack, but do you want to tell us again?
Yeah, my best bets on the Saturday's Grey Dawn and on the Sunday Fast or Slow, but each way, Steel Alley 9-1. Take the 9-1 while you can.
Ginge?
Yeah, mine actually comes on Friday at Ascot. Again, anyone knows I love this horse. It's Celtic Dino, runs in the 130. It's an introductory hurdle. He comes up against Royal Infantry, Wade Out, who's obviously well touted, and Joyeuse, who comes from the family of Epatante. But I really like Celtic Dino. I mean, he won at Wincanton on Hurdle's debut, and I mentioned this last night on Jack's Spaces on Twitter as well. You watch how he started the race and how he finished. It was like two completely different horses. He started keen, he was green, looking around at his fences, running through them. But 3 and 4 out, he was just winging his hurdles. He travelled strongly, and he was really powerful at the straight. It's just the horse that really caught my eye, and being by Dr. Dino, I expect him to excel this season as well over hurdles. I'm a big fan of Celtic Dino. This is your Betfair hurdle horse for February, anyway, in my opinion.
So this is why you've got to tune into the Ginger Joe show. All of these anti-post Betfair hurdles, everything's coming out in the washing. I'm just going to do like Paul did. I'm going to do like a little Trixie each way at Haydock. I'm going to show Kerry Hill in the fixed brush handicap hurdle. I'm going to put the real whacker in for the Betfair chase. And sorry, I'm going to do my other one. Will be Ascot and be Salva. So that'll be my each way Trixie. Okay, so we'll have a quick roundup with the Constitution Hill news of the Gallop. Everybody's seen it. Simply going to go around 6-4 for the Fighting Fifth. Play or lay? Jack, play or lay?
Play. Close though. Close. It's very close, but play.
Ginger, you a play or lay at 6-4 for the Fighting Fifth?
Can you have neither as an answer? I wouldn't back.
No, you've got to go for it. On this show, we don't hold back. It's play or
okay. Lay him then, Scotty. I can't be having a horse as crooked as what's happened with Con. Personally, not interested.
Well, before Paul gives his answer, I'm going to say it's a lay. But Paul knows more about these horses, probably with the links he's got to all the horses he owns. Paul, play or lay, and if you want to chuck in an explanation, feel free.
Yeah, so look, I'll say lay. So I did two. I wouldn't be backing him at 6-4 based on that gallop. I think he's still short of fitness than where they thought he was. I had no issue with what happened on Wednesday, by the way. Race course gallop when one horse is much fitter than the other. Social media goes mental. So there was nothing wrong with the Constitution Hill at all on Wednesday. But, Fighting Fifth next weekend. So I think there's going to be some doubt about whether he's going to be ready to go next weekend. He's probably going to turn up at Christmas instead. If he does turn up, He's going to be vulnerable to something that's half fit. But then it's Constitution Hill, so maybe he's just good enough anyway. But if it's a direct choice between, if I can't sit on the fence or do nothing, which is what I'd actually do, then I'd have to say lay. What I did do though was take every bit of money that I possibly could when everybody was putting whatever price on Betfair for the champion hurdle. Thank you very much, everybody, and thank you to the idiot on Twitter who said I've heard he's going to be retired. He follows me, I follow him. I don't really see much of his stuff, but he's absolutely flaming because people would have got out of their bets on it on that comment alone, and he couldn't have possibly known it. He's full of shit, and quite frankly, those people just need to fucking disappear.
Yes.
I'm just a quick one there, Scott. I'm in massive agreement there with Paul. It drives me crazy when people are sharing false news. I'd happily call them out if it wasn't just for us keeping it, within the podcast. But Paul's dead right. You can't be doing things like that in this day and age when you're messing with people's money just to get yourself an extra 25 followers. So that absolute joke. Look, we all want him to come back to his best. You wouldn't be racing fans if you didn't, but can't go doing stuff like that. It's ridiculous. Absolutely.
I'll add on to that. I agree. I think when you have the circles of people that we trust, and we know on these podcasts, respectable people on the racing Twitter, you kind of know who to trust, don't you? So more for you, to be honest, if you've laid it, if you backed it, if you've done whatever. But yeah, I mean, if he goes and hacks up in this, then Paul is going to be laying the shit out of him at 4 to 5 to break even at least. So happy days, Paul. We'll have a quick roundup of anti-post selections. If there's anything, it doesn't have to be Cheltenham. It could be Aintree. It could be a handicap hurdle. It could be a selling plater at Wincanton. Anything that you think in the coming weeks, coming months, anything on your radar, Jack? Is there anything you fancy?
The next few weeks, not as much. I haven't dove into that. I know Aintree have got a meeting and the Beaches Chase meeting. I haven't dove into that just yet. But all I'd say is the one fancy I've got till Christmas, and if he turns up, like I said before, it's fast or slow for the King George. Like I'm just sitting here waiting for him to be supplemented, and then he'll probably be one of the strongest bets I've ever had if he does get supplemented. I'm just waiting for him to be supplemented. But sorry, there's nothing. I'm not just going to come out here and give a bet just to try and give one. If I don't fancy one, I don't fancy one right now. I don't fancy one just yet.
But I respect that. I think that's the way to be, Jack. Don't throw dead money at something that's not there. That's what I say. Paul, is there anything on your radar for the coming weeks and months?
Yeah, a few this side of Christmas. Two I liked for the Hennessy. I did like Trelawn, but Trelawn's not going to go. Kim Bailey said that he needed a run to go there, so don't back him if anybody's thinking about it, or if anybody has backed him. Get out, cash out, lay off, whatever it is you need to do. Colonel Harry I like, and I like Midnight River. Midnight River's had a prep after a season off. He's season before last. Last season he was coming to win his race. I thought. The news that Fast as Flow doesn't go to the King George. I really like Ilate Tomp. I think he's tens now. I have backed him at a bigger price than that. I have backed Colonel Harry at a bigger price than his current price as well. And the other one I like this side of Christmas is what I really like this side of Christmas is making your mind up for the Coral Welsh National. I like him a lot. He's still available at tens. So if anyone's looking for something anti-post, just get on.
Like that. I actually had him as a little benchmark for the Welsh National as well, Paul. Agreeing with you a lot tonight. I love it. That's what the Coventry City public do.
Absolutely.
Time. Frank Lampard, here we go.
Exactly. The Cov fans talk sense. Always.
That's why we're so well liked, Paul. Ginge?
Yeah, not a lot this side of Christmas, Scott. I mean, yourself and me, I know we do like a punt in other races outside of Cheltenham. I have had a decent go on Fast or Slow for the King George. That is probably looking like it's gone by the wayside, but I have since then had a go as well on Ilate Tom when I was out with Jamie and his dad for Cheltenham for the weekend. I was banging on about it, so I just hit the button and let go on a decent punt. But my next anti-post selection is going to be at the Cheltenham Festival in the Brown Advisory. And this is going to be better days ahead. I was seriously impressed with this horse at the weekend. A lot of people were saying he didn't do it that easily. If you look between the third and second last, to me, he was just hands and heels. And even when he came over the last ahead of Slade Steele, he didn't even need to be asked or kept up to work to beat a speed horse. For me, this is a really good horse in waiting. You can get about 16-1 for him at the moment. And this is probably a horse where it's more a case I just believe what I saw in my eyes rather than looking into the form book so much. I think this is going to be a Gold Cup horse for next year. So I think he has to get competitive in the Browns. Also, just a quick note on that. I know a lot of people don't like playing anti-post each way, and I'm not. This isn't me being smart or anything. I understand that people play a fiver each way, etc. You don't want to wait for so long just to have a fiver each way on a place. But if you have a decent wager, should we just say you like a horse to place at 16-1, it's going to be in the first or second race on the Wednesday. I'm quite happy with that place money to get that back and then use my extra winnings on something else. And 16-1, I can't see him being out of the three regardless of what happens between now and March. So yeah, I like better days ahead. 16-1 for the Browns in March.
Can I tell you a little story about better days ahead?
Yeah, please do.
2 years ago, couple of festivals ago, can't remember which morning it was before racing. Myself and a couple of friends rent a house. We stay in the same house each year. I get a phone call from Dan. Paul, want to bid on a horse tonight? It's called Better Days Ahead.
Oh no!
So are you up for putting I can't remember, it's 50 grand or 60k in? You'll be in with four others. I said, well, not sure, Dan. I've just done another horse, whatever it was. He said, but the others are Fergie, Jed Mason, Alex Hales, and Harry Redknapp.
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't do it in the end. I think they ended up being underbidded to Elliott and Betfair Stud.
He's a proper horse. To be fair, in his bumper campaign, he didn't look like he was going to turn out to be very, very special. But I love what this horse is turning into. He looks like he reminds me of Don Cossack a little bit as well. He's that sort of big, brutey sort of staying chaser. I really think he's just going to. I think he's going to excel this season. I really do, and I think we'll be talking about him as like a potential Gold Cup horse next season. Anyway, I can't see too many being better than him. Can't see too many being better than him in that division. There's a few on my radar, but I wanted to get that in because I think he'll be seen maybe at Christmas next. Could be seen at Christmas, perhaps at Leopardstown. Yeah, probably Leopardstown. And then I think he's turning into a nice horse. So I'm happy to have a punt each way on him at the moment.
Anyway, if Jamie was still on here, I'd been using the line that I didn't bother because I couldn't have been done with Fergie being involved.
He'd have went on a rant, I think.
It's funny because we've got 3 anti-post selections, me, you, and Jamie, and they've all come in the Browns. We've all got different horses. I've gone Dancing City. Jamie's got Key the Board one, and you've now got Better Days Ahead. So it's interesting. But yeah, I'm going to make a couple of cases. Paul mentioned the Hennessy, now known as the Coral Gold Trophy. This is my favourite race of the year. I'm a massive handicap chase fan ever since the likes of Denman. Bobsworth is probably my favourite ever racing moment when he won the Hennessy. Absolutely loved him. So I've always been a fan of the meeting. I normally go to Newbury. This year I'm not going, but I might get a few boos, but I like Broadway Boy. I think he suits the profile of an old battler, kind of like a battler in the race. Maybe he's not quite up to the standard of previous horses who go on to run in Gold Cups like Many Clouds. I mentioned Bobsworth, but I'm looking at the market. I think it's a very poor race this year, potentially. I don't think there's any superstars in here. And I think Broadway Boy would just love it. He reminds me of the year sizing Tennessee one. Same kind of novice chase campaign, ran a few races at Cheltenham, placed and win efforts. I think at the prices, I think he's about 12 or 14s. I'd have an each way bet on him. Ilete Thompson, now I think Fast or Slow, I'm convinced. You've convinced me he's not going to go to the King George. We've all spoke about Ilete Thompson. Screams Tornado Flyer, same kind of step up and trip. Going that right-handed will be up his street, I think. I think he's got a chance. But one of my stronger kind of fancies, which is a bit of an eye-catcher from Cheltenham last weekend, was Surrey Quest, who finished second to the ill-fated Buffalo Soldier. Obviously, I thought it's go to the connections of a Buffalo Soldier, but Surrey Quest was very, very eye-catching. And I don't know whether Kim Muir is going to be the kind of race for him, but I've kind of touted him as a Midlands National type of horse. So I'd be looking at him for Uttoxeter the day after the festival. And we spoke about the Ryanair, and I mentioned how much I like Grange Clare West. And Ginge mentioned this horse earlier in the season, and I'm a big fan of Monty's Star. If they decide to drop him back down in trip to 2.5, which they should have done with Monolith, similar connections years ago, 100 to 1 is a ridiculous price for a Ryanair. If you back him each way, he'll go off sevens or eights on the day if he has a pretty solid season. You'll be on to an absolute winner there in the place market. So, a few little shouts for the rest of the season. And I think, Ginge, we're going to wrap it up there, buddy. So just want to thank once again Paul for coming on the show. Absolute privilege to have you, mate. First time doing a podcast together, and I've known you quite a long time now. So it was a bit of an experience, and I really enjoyed having your insight, mate. So thanks once again. Spectre Racing on Twitter, very knowledgeable man, and definitely a man to keep on the good side. Trust me, I know Paul. He's a very good guy, and he'll look after you. So Jack, honestly, mate, you're a legend. Racing interest. The only thing, you're a Liverpool fan. No one's perfect, as they say, but God bless you, mate. Absolute superstar. Jack Spaces on Twitter every Tuesday. Make sure you tune in. And again, Jack, thank you for having us on Tuesday, buddy. So
one last thing, Scotty, really quickly. Just want Jack to plug. He's got a new concept coming out with Liam and Halligan.
Weekend Watch, isn't it? Is that what it's called, Jack?
Yeah, Road to Cheltenham watch along. Joe jumped on with us for our first one for the Breeders' Cup. To be honest, we just done it for a laugh. I'd have a few drinks and watch the race, and the support it got, honestly, it's the best thing I've ever done with the spaces and everything. The support I got off the watch along was crazy.
There were thousands though, Jack, weren't there? There were quite literally thousands tuning in to watch it.
Overall, I think over 5,000 people. When Joe was on, we had 1,800 viewers at time watching us. We couldn't believe how well it done, and we'd have been stupid not to carry it on. So we've carried it on till the rest of the season. It's only going to be the jump season, and we'll do it again next season. But our first one, official first one, is going to be Saturday for the Betfair Chase. I'm going to be at the course. I'm going to be popping in and out after each race, giving me my opinions and all that. But I'll be at the course, and then we'll be doing it again on Sunday for the John Durkan. We've set up our own Twitter account, RTC Watch Along. The whole fixture list and that is there, what we're going to do. But I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully, again, you lads will come on, you again, Joe. It's just something different, something completely different, something out of the ordinary. I'm just going to see how it gets on.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Paul.
Cheers, guys.
There you have it.
Son, Joe.
Thanks again, guys, and good luck to all of our followers, all of your bets this weekend. Remember, always gamble responsibly, and if you lose, drink irrationally. That is the motto with the Racing Boys. I'm only joking. Gamble responsibly. The show was brought to you in association with betting.co.uk. Like, subscribe, and feel free to comment any questions, and we will try and read them out on our next show. Thank you, and good luck to everybody.
Thank you, lads. See you in a bit.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers, boys.